Hello, everybody, and welcome to this Cloud Lunch and Learn session. Today we have Unleashing the Power of AWS for Early Cloud Developers, and I would like to welcome Kayla Taylor. This session is being recorded and will be available on the YouTube channel if you miss any of it. So have a great day, and to anybody out there listening that is US based, happy Thanksgiving for tomorrow. So thank you, Kayla, for taking the time today, and have a great session.
Absolutely. I did want to introduce myself. My name is Kayla Taylor, and I am a solutions architect. And today we're going to be talking about unleashing the power of AWS for early cloud developers. So, on the agenda for today, we're going to talk about customer challenges, then go over the solution, the architecture, the demo, the outcome, and then next steps. So, there are a few key challenges that motivate customers to look for ways to simplify the management of their AWS infrastructure. First one is resource management. So, as developers continue to build on AWS, there's an increase in the complexity of the architecture being managed. Over time, manually creating, modifying, deleting of these resources takes time and makes it difficult for developers to track and manage the changes of their infrastructure. Manual deletion of resources also makes it difficult to roll back to a previous working version if a problem occurs. Consistency. So, manually created resources are harder to replicate across different environments or regions. And that makes it difficult to set up a development environment or a disaster recovery site in a different AWS region. Compliance requirements. So, manually creating and deleting resources is also prone to human errors, which can result in misconfigurations down the line. And then finally, cost management. So, manually managing those resources is also more prone to inconsistencies, which can lead to inefficient configurations and result in unnecessary costs, such as forgotten resources that are left running in an environment. But AWS CloudFormation provisions and manages stacks in AWS resources based on templates that you create to model your infrastructure. You can manage anything from a simple EC2 instance to complex multi-tier, multi-region application, and CloudFormation can be used to define simple things like an Amazon VPC subnet, as well as provisioning services like AWS OpWorks or AWS Elastic Beanstalk. It's easy to get started too, because you simply just create a template, which could be in JSON or YAML format, and it basically serves as a blueprint to define the configuration of all your AWS resources that make up your infrastructure. Alternatively, you can select a sample pre-built template on the AWS Management Console, which provides commonly used architectures such as a lamp stack or you know a data pipeline. Next, you just upload your template to AWS CloudFormation, and CloudFormation will provision and configure your resource stack. Templates declare the desired state of the resources that you want to manage the lifecycle of. In this part of our sample template here, we have a list of parameters which help you to customize your stacks by providing input values during stack creation or update. These parameters allow you to change certain aspects of the stack based on your needs. So here we have an AMI, which pulls the machine image that we want for our EC2 instance with the instance type, which lets you choose between T2 and T3 micro instances, and my IP, which allows you to input your IP addresses so that we can have the minimum permissions necessary for our security group. And we'll see the full architecture in the next slide. So in this architecture, for our demo, we are using AWS CloudFormation template, which when uploaded creates a CloudFormation stack. And this will automatically provision and deploy resources in the AWS cloud once the stack has completed. And in this case, we just have a simple EC2 instance that is guarded by a security group within a public subnet in a VPC. Let's move on to the demo. So here I'm on the AWS Management Console, and I'm going to type in AWS CloudFormation. And then once I find it, I'm going to click on that. And then we're going to go over to the orange button in the center and create stack. In this case, to prepare the template, I'm going to choose to build from Infrastructure Composer so that we can upload our YAML template to the cloud. So now I'm in Infrastructure Composer. The really good thing about this is that it provides a visual interface where you can drag and drop, or you can choose the template option, which just allows you to upload your YAML template. This is the YAML template that we had on our earlier slide, which details the infrastructure that is going to be deployed. So we have like my IP, which provides that IP address I was talking about earlier. And then we have the main resources such as the security group and the web server. And you can even see that it has specific user data as a part of it. In this case, we are installing HTTPD and we're having an HTML statement that says hello world. And then finally, once we deploy this in our outputs tab, there is going to be it's going to create a URL that allows us to access that page with that HTML statement. So I'm going to copy and paste this into Infrastructure Composer. And then I'm going to create my template in the upper right-hand corner. It's going to give me a little box to make sure that I want to continue, and then I just confirm, and it'll take me back to that page. Now that that's done, I'm going to go click Next. Give it a name. In this case, my test stack. And you can see the parameters that were called out in the template. I can choose between T3 and T2 micro. In this case, I'm going to go T3. And I'm also going to put in my personal IP address. That way, I have the minimum security permissions necessary so nobody else can access it but me. Once that's done, we're just going to look at some of the stack options. In this case, I'm going to leave everything as default. Then we go to our review page. And it looks like everything's pretty much good here. and then click submit. So the stack is now being deployed. So now we are just waiting for those resources to be created. And for the purposes of this demo, I'm going to cut to the create process. Now that the create is complete, we can see that we have a running log of all of the events on our events page. If I go to the resources being created, we see that we have both the web server and the security group created. And if I click on the physical ID, it'll take me to the EC2 service, and we'll be able to see the exact instance is running with T3 micro, which is what I chose. If I go back to CloudFormation, we can also check on that security group. And we see that that is also running with the VPC. And it has the specific rule that was called out in the YAML template. And then finally, if we go to our outputs, we can see the URL was created. And if I click on it, it does indeed say hello world. And that pretty much concludes the demo. Now that's really all well and good if you have a single account, but what if you have multiple accounts or you want to code without with JSON or YAML templates? So for those of you that are new to the AWS Cloud Development Kit, I'll give you a quick overview. The AWS CDK is an open source framework that allows you to provision your cloud infrastructure similar to CloudFormation, but you're able to use your favorite programming language. So if your favorite programming language happens to be Python, TypeScript, JavaScript, Java, C Sharp, or Go, it means that you're able to take advantage of all the benefits of a higher level language. So you get IDE support, classes, functions, loops, etc., etc. So as you can see in the example on the screen here, we're setting up an entire Fargate cluster with just a few lines of code, and we get IntelliSense tips to help guide us along the way. The CDK is built on top of CloudFormation, so it gives you access to all the resources um, that the service team, in collaboration with a very open and active open source community, were able to build higher level constructs on top of those raw resources and provide intuitive code that makes it easier to reason about your application landscape. Usually, when we use the CDK, we create an architecture for a CI/CD pipeline. And we usually do this on multiple accounts. So, for example, you might have one person's account and another person's account, but they're both able with the CDK to push using source control like Git to a CI/CD account, which has something like code pipeline, which can then push to like a beta, gamma, or a prod account. So, in conclusion, both CloudFormation and the AWS CDK enable developers to quickly deploy architectures in a fast and secure manner. So, whether deployment is in a single account or a multi region deployment, they will ensure consistent, repeatable deployments. And then finally, there's no additional charge for CloudFormation or the CDK. So, you only pay for the resources that are being created. If you want to get started or learn more about AWS CloudFormation or the CDK, I have the following QR codes that are available, and I'll let that be up there for a little bit. And thank you all so much for the time.
Thank you so much, Kayla. Hey, we do have a question. Can you
All
hear
right.
me? Yeah. Which stack options are essential for production deployments in CloudFormation, especially for termination protection, stack policies, and rollback settings?
Can you repeat the question? I'm
Here, let me,
sorry.
here, let me show it right there.
Thank you. Thanks. Yes. So with AWS CloudFormation, you can use stack sets to help with termination protection and some of those stack policies. I hope that answers your question.
It was all built into the CloudFormation templates that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, so if you go into the CloudFormation settings, well, you can also build it into your template, yes. You would you can create stack sets, and then you can also go into the CloudFormation console on the AWS Management Console to go into the settings for, to change the rollback behavior of your stacks.
Great. Thank you very much. I think that was the only question that we had. So um, if there aren't any other questions, want to thank you. Yep. So, okay. And did get a comment back that makes sense. And thank you for your response to that question. So thank you very much, Kayla. Thank you very much for your time today and being part of this Cloud Lunch and Learn session. Thank you to everybody out there listening and participating, as well as those watching on the recording. Um, as Kayla showed, there are some QR codes that were shared. If you didn't get those during the live session, you can go onto the Cloud Lunch and Learn YouTube channel and find the session and fast forward your way to those QR codes as well. Otherwise, thank you very much, Kayla. Appreciate your time today. And thanks for you, everybody, on the Cloud Lunch and Learn session and listening in. So thanks, everybody, and have a great rest of your day and the rest of your week. And again, those of you that are watching this before Thanksgiving, have a happy Thanksgiving in the U.S., as well as everybody have a happy holiday season as we move towards and into December. So thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.
Awesome.